Hi, this is Naomi with Sword and Steel, and today's video we'll be checking out the Rampart Modular Terrain that Archon Studio gave me. They'll be finishing off their Kickstarter in a few days, so if you wanted to have any of these terrain kits, then you'll have to jump over there, which I'll have in the description down below. These terrain kits are cheaper terrain kits, but they are super tough. And I am going to show you the odds and ends, what I thought about it. Oh, and I think also on the Kickstarter is this Wolverine tank as well, which I put together. And so we'll be checking that out as well. These terrain kits are part of a Kickstarter, which means they'll only improve beyond these prototype forms. So please consider that as I discuss what I most like about them and what I find needs some improvement. So what I like about them first and what I like them about the most is that they are tough. It's my favorite part about them. As a tournament organizer who has to fix other people's breaking of my terrain, these are both brute friendly, child friendly, pet friendly, and storing away on a shelf friendly in that you can break them down and compact them into small locations. Or you could even, with their new flooring system, pick it up and put it away if you want to. These are not inches. This is actually 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. But if you wanted to, if you were on this grid system, you could always pretend that they were 2 inches by 2 inches. As long as everyone does the same system of measurement, then it works. And you could even move it in grids, like in Kill Team they now have, where you move in 1 inch in 1 inches or in 2-inch straight lines. I also like how the flooring leads to the stability of the battlefield itself, since the flooring uses their peg and hole system as well. The peg and hole system could use some work, but more on that in a moment. I would also consider their modularity quite child and loved one friendly, since it would allow gamers to have family members help assemble their battlefield every time they play. Without worry of younger family members perhaps breaking the pieces off. Though I did find myself limited to which pieces I could use where, I would imagine that as soon as I bought a bigger kit and expansions for said kits, that problem should go away. There is definitely flexibility on what you can do with each kit. The second thing I like about them is that they are plastic, as I said, and high quality, durable plastic, which means that everything fits together well. I had no warp to speak of, like one might find in resin builds. There was one of the terrain pieces that had a bit of an error to its build that required me to carve it out, and that was this tree vines piece. I had 4 duplicates of this particular piece, and each one had to be carved out underneath at the same spot. So it was definitely an error in its sculpt rather than warp, so I'm assuming that will be fixed. The third thing I like about these are that though they are tough, they still have a great amount of detail to them. Not Games Workshop level detail to them, but they are appealing to look at, and they are not barren at all of detail, and particularly when they are painted, they are going to be pretty darn gorgeous. And yes, the paint will scrape off on things that have to be pulled and pushed together, even with the magnetization aspect to them, which can be easily done, as would just be the nature of modular terrain. Using a couple layers of a good primer like Chaos Black underneath should allow for many of the scrapes to remain invisible. Of course, if you slather it over with a lot of varnish, you should be good to keep some of that scraping at bay. But even if you did, the touch-up for the scrape should be quick and easy. I would suggest dry brushing with various different paints once the inevitable touch-ups have to occur. The bonus, I guess, would be the price point, particularly on the Kickstarter, since if I were to get these as a tournament organizer, I would want multiples so I could create many tables worth of battlefields, and the Kickstarter allows for that as you get more of a discount the more you acquire. And as I said, when broken down into their many components, they do not take up a lot of space. This is a nice tournament organizer's thing to buy, or someone who hosts a lot of games, tournament or not. Oh, and they would make great sources of painting workshop material when they have to be repainted or painted the first time around. I very much like the idea of painting terrain so that the terrain pieces become part of the community as the painters return to play on the battlefields that they learned their skills on. So, what I don't necessarily like about this terrain, however, is simply that though they say it uses a peg and hole system, using just this system is a bit irritating. They have a tendency to fall apart. But again, this is a prototype set, and I'm sure everything will only get better upon the release of the actual sets. Also, you can easily magnetize all these pieces with rare earth magnets. Set all the holes to be norths and all the pegs to be souths with the simple use of modeling putty or captured behind sprues, and that problem will go away. Or you could even glue pieces together more than I have. You would need something beyond the use of pegs and holes, I think, to use them reasonably on the battlefield as they are, without having to worry about toppling them over. I personally like the floor system for this as well. The cathedral set is much more stable now that it is set into the floor tiles. Oh, and these floor tiles can be used for higher level floors as well. Though if you are bothered by the holes in the floor, you'll either need to grab some bits to fill, which you could create from sprues into rocks and rubble, or this kit isn't for you. But for fun games where realism isn't incredibly important and just some easy to change, hard to break terrain pieces are the things to use, then this makes a great choice. As for the Wolverine tank that they also gave me, this is a basically indestructible piece of plastic. It is not a beginner's kit for assembly, though the assembly guide is one you can follow well. Just keep in mind everything has to be early on exactly just so that the later pieces fit everything well. But once that tank is built, oh boy, you have got one tough piece of machinery to play with all sorts of different little hatches that you can open and close, and the interior is completely fleshed out. There aren't any extra pieces beyond what you want to add as decorations, but yeah, I like it. It's a nice tank. And that is basically all I have to say about these. Do let me know what you think below, and grab the chance to get in part of the Kickstarter if you wish to, since it is ending soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did. Make certain to comment below if you had any questions or what you thought about it yourself. To Archon Studio, I very much appreciate the gift that you have given me, and this is by no means says that I do not appreciate it. As expected, it separated. Why did I have this again? It's separated into multiple pieces by its connectors, but it did not break. Oh, okay. That was there. And this was here. There you go. Not even these little things. These little things are tough too. It passes the whoopsie test, and any of it would. This will survive. Ruffians. Children. Cats. Which cannot be underestimated. Alright, bye! Necron Warrior. There's Necron Warrior. Here is a Redemptor Dreadnought. Boop. Boop. Oh, a vertical bundle too. That looks good. We needed more in the main set. And dudes. for funsies. Oh, that's a nice amount of terrain.